open it. Wow, looks just like Tanya's motor. Look at all that soundproofing insulation on the back. Oh, look at the inlet for the air cleaner. It sucks. It just picks it up between the hood and the...
Oh, you wouldn't think there'd be that much in there. Oh, fucking coming through here.
Godzilla. Has it got remote start on the key? Go give us some gas. All right, welcome to the palatial states of Driver Mod TV. We have our first build project. This is our 99 Mustang Saleen clone. It is getting the infamous, or soon to be infamous, Godzilla crate engine that we got from Summit Racing. This is a 440 cubic inch Windsor-based platform that is going in the F-250 trucks. It's the competition for the diesel in the Fords. It's a vehicle that will tow, go 300,000 miles, and pull whatever you need to pull without having a turbo diesel and the maintenance and all the stuff required with a diesel. Well, we bought this crate motor from Summit Racing, and we're going to do an engine swap. And this is the 99 Mustang. Was originally a GT car with an automatic, and we're going to put the 500 horsepower, 540 foot-pounds of torque Godzilla crate motor in it, bone stock. Now, in the trucks, they're rated at 430, 475. With OBR's computer and tune, good exhaust, we're looking at 500 horsepower, bone stock, drive anywhere, just like if it was in an F-250 truck. So the first thing we're going to do is get the car up in the air, get the wheels and tires off of the front, and we're going to take the K-member out, the factory K-member, the factory power steering rack will come off, and the factory A-arms. Now it's got Takiko adjustable front struts. We're going to leave those, but we're going to go with the coilover setup that you see behind me here on the 96. This car is for sale. We're going to get a different K-member for it. This is a AFCO K-member that's one of the strongest K-members ever built for a Mustang. They don't even make them anymore. They were a little heavier than some of the other brands, but it is very durable, and it's great for a platform like this where we're going to have a daily driver style setup We can drive anywhere with air conditioning, cruise control, all that kind of cool stuff in a late model engine swap. This is the competition for the LS swap, guys. This is the motor that everybody's gonna want. $6,500 plus tax from Summit Racing, and they delivered it. We did an unpackaging video. We'll include some shots of that in this. And the motor's sitting there in the garage waiting to get installed in this car. So we're gonna do the K-member swap now. We might not get it all done tonight, but we're gonna get this one out, and then we'll start pulling that one out, get that one swapped into this, and then we're gonna start fitting the engine, and we'll get more videos as we progress with this swap. So let me get started. Side, so we put a little paint on this, and then we'll show you how the install's coming. All right, so here's a little update on the New Edge Saleen clone Mustang Godzilla swap. It's a 7.3 liter Godzilla engine that we unpackaged, and it's sitting in its home. So we'll go into some detail. I'm going to get it up in the air and I'll show you the tubular K-member from underneath that we used. And I'll see if you can see. Get it down like this. Now I'd notched it so the oil pan would clear. And the big block Chevy motor mount. So this is an AFCO tubular K-member. We showed you how we put it in, swapped it out, and got the engine setting in there. Some of the things I didn't film was painting the engine compartment. It's kind of boring. Sorry if you can hear the fan in the background, but it's 102 right now in Houston. So taped it all off, scuffed it, wiped it down, satin black looks much better, especially if we decide to color change the car. So what you're looking at here is me. I've put a mark on that where the fender is, found center of the car. The engine is about 5/8 of an inch to the passenger side, which is okay because a lot of times engines come a little bit to the passenger side anyway, but it's pretty close to center. This is not center, so don't look at that. But if you go over a 1/2 inch the other way, you have some real alignment issues with the steering shaft and that coil meeting the hydro boost system, the coil wire. So that gives us a little bit of room, gets it off this side. There's plenty of room over here. I don't have the manifolds on yet because that's a whole different video. The truck manifolds hit the firewall, so we're either gonna put long tubes on it or modify the stock manifolds. I like to use the stock manifolds. But, so this is the mark on the tape is center of the engine bay, and this was me kind of eyeballing how to clearance the hood. The mark on the piece of tubing is 4 inches, the center of 8. I had the jack handle up here trying to get straight across the hood hinges just to get an idea. So this is gapped appropriately, not off to one side. What we have to do is notch the hood for that part of the intake, and we have a cow hood. It's a Cervini's Cobra R style hood, and what is going on is right here hits the intake and doesn't let the hood sit, and it's only a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch high. But what I'm going to do is clearance it, and looking at the design of this hood, the way it's got these holes for air, I'm going to go narrow first. I'm going to go 7 inches apart, the center of the hood. So we're going to cut a 7-inch wide, so narrower is better, and it matches up with these. So these lines you see here will cut, and we're going to use this cutoff wheel and just cut a little section out of the hood to leave the most support I can. That way it's all intact still. Now, I may consider going in to 6 inches and try that first. I'm going to do some more measuring to see if I can get away with 6-inch width, because I'd rather cut narrow and recut it wide if I need a little bit more. Maybe just need a little bit more on one side, or maybe just need to bulge it here or something. So I'm going to rethink this, put some more tape on here and do some more marks, and then get back to you. All right, so as of now, it looks like we're good. We're way down from where we started. It looks like it may be touching there just a little bit. I went to my final mark and I was pretty close. This side, it's way clear, but I wanted to make it look symmetrical, so I opened it up the same distance on each side. And I just can't decide if I want to take another 1/2 inch off, which means I'll probably take another 1/2 inch off there. But when I put the hinges on it, it's going to bring it up here. Another 1/4 of an inch or so. You know, to hold it up. You can see it's pretty clear. But I'll get it off, and I gotta tape up all of the open orifices, put the oil filter back on it, and then the transmission's going in it. But I want to tape everything up, exhaust manifold ports till we get the manifolds on it, just so no bugs or moisture can get in it. All right, so we'll get back to you with more of an update. But Godzilla is under the hood of the Saleen clone. The throttle body inlet, I took some measurements and came up with this design and ordered 2 Motion Raceworks adapters for a cable driven throttle body and a 45-degree elbow from them, and then had Jose Jimenez over at Speed Labs weld it all together. Okay, for the exhaust, I said I wanted to use the factory manifolds, and I ported the inlets, and I cut off the flanges and welded on a V-band flange and built a 3-inch X pipe that meets up with the Borla cap back that's 2.5 inch. We're going to change the cap back to 3 inch later, but here's where you can see I connected it and used V-bands in the back as well. All right, here's the where we're at right now on the Godzilla swap. We've decided to call it the 7.3 Saleen. As you can see, 7.3 Saleen. Here's the elbow Speed Lab made us. We've got the Ford alternator. Ford Performance Parts sells the alternator, the belt, the tensioner, bolts right on, comes with all the bolts, the belt, everything. That's looking good. I gotta find the little bracket for the factory fuse panel that kind of sticks it right there. Got the exhaust manifolds on, plug wires are in, spark plugs are back on. I gotta find a breather for this, and then I may just run a vacuum line from here to here, or from that, whatever that switch is, from here to here, something like that. I may just take that, whatever that is, off. I'll figure it out what it is. It's not important at this point. Got the OBR harness on, plugged into all the factory spots. It's labeled. And I gotta get the fuel line like this that clips on low profile for this, and run it over to the fuel pressure regulator that's going there. I got the upper radiator hose, but I'm gonna change it. I think I'm gonna put this part over there, so it'll 90 here and then go in, and it'll give me some more room. I got the degas bottle on. I got a temporary battery in here with the battery cables. I gotta finish tying that up. I'm getting a Ford Motorsport battery, and then I got right there is the high pressure line for the power steering pump. I got to put on and run it back here to that open fitting right there. And then I picked up a 4-inch 90 for here, and it's gonna go, but I'm gonna get a 3.5 because it'll look better, and turn it out like that, and it'll go down to an air filter in that hole right there. That's the reservoir for the power steering pump, kind of temporary there to see how it's going to look. It could go right here too, but it don't look bad over there, out of the way. And we don't have AC on it yet. bit will be going on, and I'm still doing some tie wrapping and stuff of the battery cables. There's a starter solenoid down there. I'll show you that. I got to run the heater hoses to the firewall. I still have to plug in O2 sensor down there. I got to fish this down there and plug that in, kind of like that, and tie wrap that up. We got the exhaust manifold on this side, painted with the stainless steel paint. So it's coming together. Got to hook up the fan and do some other wiring. So let me show you where we're at on inside the car. It's still dirty, because I've been grinding and cutting. So I cut this panel out to give myself some clearance for the exhaust, because of the way the header, the manifold was aimed. So I'm gonna build a little patch panel that goes in there. I'll show you that next. This is the OBR computer, and it's real simple. There's a couple wires here. One turns on the fans, one relay, one turns on the fuel pump. You got a fuel pump relay here, and one's ignition and one's constant hot, and that's it. And I think I have an input for cruise control. And then this one goes over to the gas pedal. I just got to route that behind there. And then you can see my V-band clamp I put on this side. I didn't have it on yet, but I figured out how to clearance it so it would fit, because it was real close to the frame. Got tranny cooler lines hooked up. I still have to hook up the transmission cooler. That's all my wiring for the transmission controller. And then I'll put the carpet back down, put the seats back in it. And beautiful lathe that was included with the car. And let's show you. Yeah, dang, it's still messy down here. There's the X pipe. Don't look at that weld. That was added. I had to fill a gap. I got to pick up the aluminum drive shaft on Monday. We had to put a new U-joint in. But the transmission's in. I'm going to do a new filter and gasket. I got to put torque converter bolts in. And I got to put a terminal end on that battery cable that goes to the starter that's in. Right there was the 4.6 starter bolted up. And you can see the K-member stuff. But yeah, there's the main power that comes over. I got to hook up power to the alternator and stuff like that too. But we're getting real close to firing it up. Once we get the drive shaft in. And we'll do a video there with all the updates when we fire it up this week. I gotta run the battery cable to the ground, put a terminal on it, and then hook up that O2 sensor right there. So it's coming along nicely. We'll give you more updates. New video coming with the startup. So this is about as far as we're gonna get, and then we'll do the one before we do the startup. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe and like. And share this video, please. Godzilla.